Good afternoon, 2SkeGEEKS family. Your boy Will Call hollering at you. Glad to do this show with you today. It's been a while, and I'm glad to have you with me. Uh, don't forget to like and subscribe our show. And let's try to get into this because it's a happy Mother's Day to all. And I want to make sure that all the all the women who attended Tuskegee who are now mothers, who are classmates of mine, and even after the fact, I wish you all a happy Mother's Day, and to other viewers who are mothers and ladies outside of Tuskegee. I wish you a happy Mother's Day to all of you and all potential mothers who are actually viewers as well. So I want to get into the day's show. And quickly, I want to get into the fact that we lost two major artists who of the comic book industry within the last 2 weeks, well, 2 weekends, I should say. Neal Adams, a longtime Batman artist and Green Lantern artist, and Green Arrow as well, who revolutionized Batman and brought it from the campy Batman of the 60s with the TV show to the serious Batman of the late 60s going into the early 70s and beyond. And we lost him last weekend. And so I just want to briefly show you some of the artwork because the campy stuff went away with him, and the writer that he collaborated with, one of his longtime writers, was Denny O'Neil, who died about a year ago. So I want to start out with this book here. This book here is the first appearance of Razak Ghoul in Batman number 232. This was a classic Neal Adams cover, and I'm going to cruise through a few more covers that he's done. Let's see here, because I spoke about Batman. Here's a Green Lantern cover. And I love this cover because you have the old school World War II Golden Age Green Lantern in conjunction with the Hal Jordan Silver Age. So you have Alan Scott here and Hal Jordan here. Green Lanterns on this same cover of Green Lantern number 88 from back in the day. And it's a Neal Adams cover. And I'll have one more cover for his work. And that's this one here with Batman and Robin, number 230, 2 issues before the first Ra's al Ghul. And this is with biker gang, Batman and the biker gang going at each other. And so one of the things that DC tried to do was to make sure a lot of the depictions of Batman and its artists across many books were very similar. So the inker on this book is a guy named Dick Giordano, who also did a few covers, of course, MIDI covers. But Dick Giordano was one of those cats whose artwork mirrored or was very similar to Neal Adams. And so just as a little quick example, you got Kung Fu Fighter number 1, Richard Dragon, in which Dick Giordano was the artist. And as you can notice, the slim bodies that are similar to the Batman style. And there's two of these right here. But the slim body styles that Neal Adams began to revolutionize for DC Comics at that time. And then after that, you had this cover here. You had another artist I'm about to show you. His name is Jim Apparel. So Jim Apparel was another spin-off artist whose art was very similar to Neal Adams, and it very much kept people in alignment so far as not quite knowing who was who, and the book was very similar. But I'm going to stick with the Batman book before I show the one I was going to cue up. This one here. And as you can see, that artwork is very similar to the Neal Adams style as well. Big flowing cape, the pointy ears, the slim athletic build. I think the difference with the Jim Apparel's Batman usually had longer ears than Neal Adams. And then you also have this book here, was by Jim Apparel as well, with a character created by Neal Adams, Dead Man, and the Phantom Stranger. Forgive me for the sticker across the front of the book, but a bargain book, regardless of. And that Detective Comics here was a Detective Comics number 437 with Jim Aparo, and this is DC Superstars number 18. So, and then let's see here. I'm gonna move through and just mention one more name, Ernie Chan. And Ernie Chan's work was also similar to Batman, to Neal Adams' Batman, and so. Alrighty, spinning through. And the other monster artist that we lost this weekend, just this on the 7th, today on the 7th, or yesterday, was George Perez. George Perez is another huge contributor to all comics, DC and Marvel, and also some independents. But some of the work that he did, of course, was Teen Titans, and he revolutionized in conjunction with Marv Wolfman, the Teen Titans, and brought back the Teen Titans from the 60s or so, and brought them back in the late 60s, early 70s, and brought them back in the 80s, and revolutionized the Teen Titans to the point where this Titans show that is on HBO Max now is formatted after this Marv Wolfman and George Perez Teen Titans. And so I'll just give you some quick examples of George's work. This is a classic Teen Titans #1 cover. I have some other books that are out with CBCS to be signed. Well, I sent them out a few months ago before George passed to be signed by George, and I'm hoping that my books were able to receive his autograph before he passed. But I sent him away a few months ago. He was doing that as a fundraiser to his health care. He passed of pancreatic cancer, much like my father did, and so I definitely wanted to contribute to his medical funds and make sure that not only did I get an autograph, but also to help him pass comfortably, because that's one of those diseases that you just don't come back from. Here's another cover, which began book 1 in the storyline called the Judas Contract. And the Judas Contract was one of those major storylines with Deathstroke, who was created also by George Perez and Marv Wolfman. And that's Teen Titans #2 is one of the books that I sent away to have autographed by George, and I'm hoping to get that back sometime soon, but no rush, because his family and whatever else has gone through what they've gone through, and I just hope my book was signed beforehand and it wasn't too much stress on him. And then lastly, the last book I'll show in this Judas Contract is Judas Contract #3, part number 3, and this is number 44, and this was the first appearance of Nightwing when he stopped wearing the Robin costume. Dick Grayson stopped wearing the Robin costume here and started wearing the Nightwing costume here. And so these are both major books to have in the collection, and I'm very proud to have them both. Alrighty, and so staying in the theme of books that are major in the collection, and helping to educate you on certain things, some things entertainment, especially going forward with the DC movies, as besides the Batman that we talked about the last time in episode 6. In this episode, I was looking through articles on the internet this morning, and I saw that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's Black Adam movie will come out in this coming October, I believe. And so it was scheduled to be July, but they pushed it back. So here is one pricey new, and it was in the last year, Black Adam cover. And I have 2 of these, but I only brought up one to show. and I'm looking forward to getting this one graded as well, getting them both graded. But this is a Black Adam cover, and that's the character that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson will play in the next movie. And I'm expecting some great things out of that movie. I know he doesn't like to put out any crap, and I know with this character, he's going to take special care of that character to do it well. And so, with the producer of our show, Brother Ron, he was asking me the other day about the character Lobo. What I'm saying in DC books right now, I'm trying to stay in the DC theme for now. The next books will go to, I'm sorry, after this one, I'll show some Marvel books. But he was talking about the character Lobo that came out in the early 80s or so, and in Omega Men. I believe it was Omega Men number 3, I believe, Omega Men number 3. But anyway, the character Lobo is one of those crazy biker characters, but yet he's a super strong, invulnerable character who just smokes a cigar, very crass, very rude, borderline villain, but yet sometimes can be hero. But Lobo's a pretty funny character, and some things that they've written about him really are more so geared even towards adult sensibilities and as opposed to children. But what he didn't know, that Ron didn't know, was the fact that Lobo has a daughter, and they brought his daughter out in about 2018 or 18 or 19 ish or whatever, and so her debut was in Teen Titans number 20. This is her in both characters. This is the A cover, and this is the one of the B covers or variant covers. This is a designer cover of what they call it, and her name is Crush. So Lobo's daughter's name is Crush, a cool looking character who looks very similar to Lobo, and she's a pretty she's a pretty animated character and very similar to her dad. And the in this telling of her beginnings in the Teen Titans as well. Pretty fun character to read. In fact, this whole series of Teen Titans, and I'm not sure what volume it is incredible. Is an incredible read. Adam Glass and Bernard Chang. Adam Glass, the writer, Bernard Chang is the artist. Do a phenomenal job on this story, on this art and the series of the Teen Titans. Please do yourself a favor and go read this because it's excellent. The artwork, the variant covers, the stories, everything is superb. Highly recommend to read if you get a chance to read. Okay, so now I said I was going to go to Marvel, and remember I was saying trying to stay with things Miles, trying to expand my collection. Well, these are not new, but these are books that I've not shared with you. But this book here of a Miles cover, is kind of funny. So yesterday, if you didn't realize again, but besides being the weekend that Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness was on the first weekend of that movie premiere, which we went to go see yesterday, and I would give it a 9.5. 9.5, 9.5, somewhere in that range. Very good movie, but I encourage you to go see it. So going back to what I was saying about Miles, anyway, Free Comic Book Day. I took my daughter and her best friend to Free Comic Book Day in one of the local comic book shops here, and when I saw the store owner there, and a few years ago I was trying to trade one of these books. I had 3 of them. I tried to trade one of the 3 for a trade to get Amazing Spider-Man 300, the first appearance of Venom. He didn't want to do it. He's like, I can't move that book. I don't know anything about that book. It won't move. It won't sell on the shelf. I'm like, okay. I just took my little wares, and I ended up trading something else, something like the first appearance of Kamala Khan or something like that in Marvel Point 1, something like that. Ended up trading because I had 3 or 4 of those. So I traded one of those and something else to get that Amazing Spider-Man 300. But anyway, fast forward 2-3 years later, here it is with this book here that he refused to cover down. He refused to take it as a trade. This here, Amazing. Oh, I'm sorry. Spider-Man #1. It was a Miles run that began with just the name Spider-Man, not Amazing Spider-Man, just Spider-Man with Miles. And of course, as you know, this is the Nas hip hop variant cover with Miles as kind of like this, with Miles kind of like with Nas in the album cover depiction. So anyway, this book here is now, as we found out with Brother John sent me, or Brother John Michael sent me something on eBay with a graded 9.8 on these. It's worth $1,000. Yes. So in my hand, I'm holding about close to $2,000 in my hands because that dude, he just didn't, he couldn't see the I can't move this book. That's because about Miles. Oh, that was just silly. But anyway, too bad for him and too great for me. And I gave one of those books to Brother John Michael not long after that in 2020, after that incident at the comic book store. So anyway, staying in the Miles theme, I'm going to, let's see here, roll down with one of my favorite Miles covers by one of my favorite artists, Gabriel Dell'Otto. This cover is just spanking. He kills it. Miles in the Night. Love this cover. Just banging. All right. Trying to move it along. Another Miles. Well, this is not a Miles book. However, it was Miles variant month. I guess this is about a year ago. And so Marvel had a bunch of books that Miles was the main character across all different titles. So this book here is an Iron Man book, number 12, with Miles on the cover as a DJ. And I have two of these, but I love this cover too. We just had to have it. We got two of them. Miles looking great on that cover. Swanky Miles. All right. And so these are books that if you want to find them, you can try to find them, procure them, and add them to your collection. Or if not, just educate yourself to find a good read on Miles himself. Okay, I'm going to shuffle these books around because I want to keep certain themes and certain themes. One of them got out of order. So we have as we talked last week about in the last episode about all things Voodoo and buying characters, all things Voodoo as much as I can. Well, that was one of the things that this book here, and I mentioned, well, last week was on a DC book, Papa Midnight. But this week we're going straight up with Marvel because we're in the Marvel family now. And this is Strange Tales, number 170. This is the second appearance of Brother Voodoo. Now, I have the first appearance of him in 169 somewhere around in this house. I just got to find it.